Hey, it's Brian from The Cell. We're kicking off a series of short video chats with some industry leaders to talk about different perspectives and trends in headless commerce. Today, I'm talking to Nathan Call, engineering lead at Enso Rings. Enso Rings is a D2C silicone ring retailer that recently went live with an Cell-powered PWA. So, Nathan, now that you've launched the Enso Rings website headlessly, what advice would you give to other retailers that might be considering a headless build?
Yeah, absolutely. Probably my top suggestion would be, plan, plan, plan. Lots and lots of planning. Um, there's no headless build that's going to be easy per se. Nacelle makes it as easy as it could possibly be, um, but there's always going to be surprises. There's always going to be challenges, and the more you plan up front, uh, the better off you'll be. I would say Enzo has one of the best development teams I've ever had the privilege of working with, and we spent a huge amount of time planning how we would get through the build. We really carefully crafted our architecture that was going to support what Enzo wanted to do immediately and in the foreseeable future on top of the Nacelle platform. And I'm really glad that we did that. So taking such a large amount of time to plan, especially when you're on a super tight schedule, might seem kind of like a risky endeavor to take on, but in our case, it paid off in a big way. As a result, since going live, we've been way more efficient as a development team too, because we're not fighting our own code base. We took the time to figure out how Nacelle really works and how we can leverage Nacelle in the best ways for at least our business. Everyone's going to be a little bit different, but in our case, it was a really good approach just to spend a lot of time planning.
If you were to redo the build again, were there any gotchas or anything that you maybe missed in the planning stage that could have come up that maybe, if you were to do it again, you would certainly scope it out, or maybe, if you had a friend that was doing a headless build, what's maybe one thing that they should make sure that's included in that scope process early on?
Yeah, that's also a great question. In hindsight, I would say it really came down to it, and we can talk about this more later too, but it really came down to how we wanted to leverage our product catalog in and how to show that to the consumer. And we had some gaps in our research and planning there. We weren't exactly sure how we wanted to do it, and so we made some educated guesses at the beginning, and we knew how we had been doing it previously as well. But one thing that I did as soon as we started on the build is I told my team, don't look at the old code. Like, we're not porting anything. We're not migrating. This is a rebuild from scratch because we need to get away from the challenges that we had in the get-go. And I wanted to bring a really fresh set of eyes to do that. And so that kind of increased our scope by, to some extent, but I think it was the right decision. And so as a result, we missed a couple things here and there, but the concessions that we ended up making in order to get our launch on time were very minor, and we were happy to make them, and I'd be happy to make them again if we had to. It wasn't oh, let's rush this thing out the door and we'll rebuild it from scratch later when we have more time. It was, no, we built it the right way. We just didn't put everything in that first build. And so, on our second iteration, yeah, we got some extra cool features in there that we just didn't have quite ready.